It's the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast, your weekly disc golf analysis podcast right here on Jomez Pro. I'm your host, Brian Earhart. My co-host, Nate Perkins, joins me again. Nate, it's an off week. We got the DGLO coming up. We have a brand new schedule that just came out for the 2026 season, and there's a lot of exciting updates. The Jomez Series was just announced. We have Jonathan Gomez, founder of Jomez, joining us later in the show to discuss that. But Nate, first and foremost, how you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling great, Brian. I was just recalling some of the years when the schedule would come out. It was that similar feeling to like it's the last day of school and you're about to start summer, just kind of that euphoria because you start looking at the map. One of my favorite things to do in life is to just like look at a map and plan a route. And so I'm just checking out the schedule and, 2019, 2020, pre-COVID, and then 2021, I'm like, I know without a doubt I'm going to every single disc golf pro tour event. I think there was a period of time where I had played more pro tours than any other player because I was just obsessed with signing up for the tournaments and driving to them. And things have changed a bit. You and I, we're not going to every single tournament. We might call some from our house. We might call some on site. We don't quite know yet. So it's a little bit different of a feeling, but it still gives me that like hit of excitement looking at the schedule, especially seeing some new tournaments. Brian, what's your take on the schedule?
Well, I've put together a list, and you have access to it as well. I put together a list of the entire schedule and how many days there are between events, how many miles there are between cities, because me and you have talked at length about the in-between time being on tour, whether it's having the weekend of your life or having a horrible weekend on the course and having to sit there with your thoughts for 10 hours, 12 hours, driving from the Midwest out to California for that stretch to start. It's a very interesting part of the lifestyle of being a professional player, and it's something you have to be good at. Otherwise, you're going to burn yourself out every single year. So we're going to go through this list quick and
Yeah.
zoom in on some things that we think are notable. And then after that, we'll talk about kind of the Jomez series, what it means. Jonathan's going to explain kind of the ins and outs of why this happened and what they're planning to do. But first and foremost, Nate, we start out at Olympus again. Great. Perfect start. Brooksville,
Stoked.
Florida. And then we go from there to the Big Easy Open, brand new course, Parc des Familles in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, I believe just outside of New Orleans. 11-day span between events. So right off the bat, a good break for the players. 469-mile drive. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, first off, Stokes Supreme Flight Open makes the list again. I think it's a slam dunk tournament, being Paul and Dylan's property out there. Last 2 years, it's really delivered. And yeah, it's kind of nice starting on the East Coast, and it makes sense. Big Easy Open. I think that we've never been to the state of Louisiana for disc golf on the pro tour, and certainly not New Orleans. And yeah, I'm really excited to see that. I think that New Orleans is one of the more like culturally rich cities in the United States, and all of the amazing things that America has given to the world. I feel like two of the best things that uh, America has given are food and music, and New Orleans is at the heart of some of that music, right? It's New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz and funk, right? I mean, you go 1969, the Meters, Sissy Strut, that's like the beginning of funk right there. And we're pulling up in March 13th. We're a little bit shy of Jazz Fest, but no doubt if you take a 15-minute ride from the course to New Orleans, you can see some good jazz, some world-class jazz and some world-class funk, and have some also world-class food. Brian, I don't know if you've had any French Cajun dishes, crawfish etouffee, out of this world. But yeah, the Jefferson Parish it's pretty much on a swamp. right? It's a true wetland. It borders a swamp. You had mentioned it in your notes. The bald cypress just kind of only grows in a few places in the United States, and needs a wetland. So, you know, cross our fingers that there's no flooding. Definitely prone to flooding, but when you get a dry spring out there, it's a beautiful place to play disc golf, and it's a John Houck course, right?
Yes. Yeah. It gives
Sweet.
me like Nantucket vibes. It's a very flat piece of land, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're gonna have a lot of open space. There's gonna be a lot of lanes, and creativity shines out there. There's a lot of different ways to play these holes. And Nate, for the fans that have not seen these bald cypress trees in competition,
yeah,
give a little bit more of an explanation. They almost look like witches' brooms, and this course is littered with them
yeah.
all over the place. It's so cool.
Well, that's it, right? The root, it's the tree with the roots that are like spreading out and getting, as much water, and they soak up water even when they're submerged fully underwater, right? So it's one of the trees that can just thrive in the swamp. And then we have the Spanish moss, similar to what we have in Brooksville, Florida, hanging from the live oak. You'll have a ton of Spanish moss hanging down from, again, live oaks in Louisiana as well, but also these big cypress trees. So perfect combination. I mean, it's one of the more beautiful settings really that we're going to visit all year long. What's the par, Brian?
That I don't know. I haven't seen what the current layout is. I saw a few players play it in previous iterations on YouTube. Haven't gotten a look at the caddy book just yet, but
I
there's a
bet it's
lot
high though. I bet it's going to
from
be
what I
sweet.
saw. There's a lot of par fours that are not the longest in the world, but angles, landing zones, and getting creative and risk rewards. That's all just John Houck's bread and butter. Like if you don't get quite far enough to a landing zone, there's going to be a little sneaky gap you can sneak through if you're aggressive enough and you still want the birdie. So his whole deal is no underbrush on the fairway. Every tree that's on the defined fairway is going to be intentionally there. This course in particular, from what I saw, I think the coverage was like a few years ago, very thick in the rough. So this is not John Houck style. But over the years, it might have thinned out a little bit. A lot of blackberry bushes, it seemed like, on the sides of the fairway, but uh, we'll just have to see. But the holes themselves scream John Houck. I think he's very proud of this place, and we lost Jackson. I'm so happy that we got this course, and I think the players are going to really enjoy it. I don't know how much OB there's going to be because Houck hates any sort of white stake OB. Uh, so we'll see what the scores come in at. I hope that it's a course that scores very fair for the MPO and the FPO. What I like about this course also, before we move on, there are like 3 tee pads per hole, and there might even be more being made for this tournament. So there's a lot of different layouts that I think are going to challenge both divisions very well. All right.
No, wait. Well, let me ask you one more thing about Louisiana is um, when a tournament comes out like this, you're working full time for the tour. Are you like, I want to go on site? I want to like do the on course, or I want to call the booth on site so I can check out New Orleans for the first time, or where's your heart at?
I've always said that I will go where they need me to go. And that's kind of why I got put in full time. If they need to put me on course, they'll fill me in on course. If they want to put me in the booth, they'll do that. So I have not necessarily gone through and chosen my tournaments like that. Um, I have told people what I liked, what tournaments I like being on site for, but I don't know. I've never been to Louisiana. Well, at least for disc golf purposes, I've driven through Louisiana when we were on tour. Uh, but I've never been to New Orleans, so yeah, that might be a place I'd like to go. But hey, calling a new course from the booth would be wonderful. I love John Houck. We've had so many deep talks about course design. He's an old freestyler too. You can find old freestyle tapes of Houck, so I've talked to him a little bit about that. So I'm sure we're going to come to the table, whether it's on course, in the booth, with a lot of really cool information and stories about the place. So I'm super excited. Um, we are going from the Big Easy Open to the Queen City Classic, Nate. We're coming back
We
to Hornets
backtrack,
Nest. We're
backtrack a
getting
little bit.
a pro tour in Hornets Nest Park, my home course. I could not be happier. And yet again, another 11-day stretch of time. The players have plenty of time to get up there. 634-mile drive. I could speak endlessly about Hornets Nest. What are your memories and what are your thoughts? We actually just got to play there
Are
the
you
other day.
Oh, we just played it. I think it's one of the more nostalgic courses for me over the years. I made the semifinals at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship twice. I will never forget playing against one of my good friends, Jeremy Colling, and we thought that we had the tour points for the season backwards because of the way they teed us off. So the whole time I thought I had to outright beat Jeremy to beat him to advance. And so we tied on the 18th, and I'm like congratulating him. And then everyone else is like congratulating me. And this all happened on Jomez. So, and Simon Lazat was the one doing the commentary, and I threw the night strike on every single hole. And so Simon is just like sit night strike, and then this guy ends up making a song from it. And the night strike was already, somewhat popular, but then after that rap song and the Jomez video with like a couple 100,000 views, it just kind of took off. But never mind that. Those are my memories. Outside of that, Charlotte is one of the bigger disc golf hubs in the world, right? It no doubt you have access to some of the best courses, some of the best public parks. You could just roll up and it's a disc golf destination. It's a wonderful city, great time of year to be there. What is it, 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah, 5 minutes, and it's about to
It's
be a lot
insane.
closer. The Charlotte Greenway
Yeah,
has already cut a trail from my neighborhood straight to the park. They knew I loved it so much that
so
they just
sick.
had to cut a trail.
Yeah.
So one day I'll get to walk there, and I do in the wintertime when the ground is firm enough, but right now it's a bit of a swamp. They're gonna pave it, but apparently it's like 5 years away or something like that.
Well, I feel like the team down there deserves it, and the course is definitely deserving. So I couldn't be more stoked for Charlotte. Does that mean that we're not coming back later in the year? The championship stays up in Lynchburg. It appears so.
Yes.
Either
Yep.
way, stoked for Charlotte. So they backtrack a little bit from Louisiana up to Hornets Nest, and then from there going north to Lynchburg for the Champions Cup. So Champions Cup is moving from West Coast to East Coast. And that's only like a 2-hour drive or something from Charlotte to Lynchburg.
Yeah, it's 225 miles, and they gave the players 10 days. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, we're going to Virginia twice. Interested to see from a logistics perspective how it pans out. I know for the team, cell signal was a huge problem. I remember being on course for Worlds and having to wear that heavy, like 25-pound pack that was added to the pack that we were already wearing. We split that tournament, right? You did FPO, I did MPO, or vice versa.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
I did
I
Isaac's
remember it
interview
being a
off.
tough. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I did Evelina.
So, I like that. We're on the East Coast for a little while, the players get some time. It's a really nice, slow entry to the season. And then from Champions Cup, they have a 674-mile drive, and they start another tournament. Champions Cup gets out to Jonesboro. So Jonesboro back on the tour. Happy about that. I'm interested to see what they do to the course. What are your thoughts on Jonesboro coming back?
I like Jonesboro as a course. I do think the downside there is where it's located. The town of Jonesboro is sweet. It's charming, but there's just not enough people in close proximity. I think Memphis is like the closest larger town. And, Nashville, you might be able to pull some people from, but it's hard to get a ton of people to travel to the northeastern part of Arkansas to watch live disc golf. So that's my only downside there. But the course itself is, it's been one of the staples. I think it was on it year two, 2017, and the course remains relatively unchanged. And so what you get from that is the fans and the players and the people watching at home, they recognize and they have memory about all these different holes, and so they know what's going on. Whereas that's the one downside of a new tournament, right? Big Easy Open. we've never seen that course before. So sometimes it can actually be a bad thing when you're at home and you're like, I don't know if that's a good shot. I don't know where they're going. And that's when it kind of that's when the commentator really can step in and like help guide you through it. And Jonesboro, you won't have that problem because everybody knows those holes. What do you make of that one?
Yeah, I love Jonesboro. Also, for the players, at least for me, it was a bit of a reprieve from all of the OB laden courses that we play. I'm interested to see how New Orleans plays, but Jonesboro coming back, you can spray a little bit. There's a little bit of scrambling. It's really cool park style golf. And like you said, there's a lot of holes that are cementing their legacy. They have lore behind them, and I enjoy that part of golf in general. So interested to see what they do. The one thing I will say, the island hole, it used to be 6. I forget what it is now. I
Yeah.
I want so badly for there to have a pin pushed back, so it's a longer, tougher shot to the green, but it's elevated on a platform, and the fans can, like, gather around the platform and have people throw over their heads. That's what I wanna see. I think that'd be so cool. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I did tell the TD. I told him that idea. He was like, okay, sure." And so I don't know if he's gonna do it, but that's my dream for that course. But anyway, we go from Jonesboro to Kansas City Wide Open. Kansas City Wide Open's back. Love
Ooh,
that. Love that
back to
community.
back.
Yep. And then so 4 days, 306-mile drive. We go from Kansas City to Waco. The one asterisk next to Waco, this is now going to be on the Jomez series, which again we'll talk to Jonathan about more in a little bit. Um, it's one of 3 tournaments right now. It's Waco, the Cascade Challenge, the Champions Landing Open, which was DDO before. So those
Okay.
tournaments are going to be filmed post-production only, and we're going to get more information about the format, the points that are offered, blah, blah, blah. But the players are going to go from KC Wide Open to Waco, 4 days, 570-mile drive, and then Waco to Austin, which is 95 miles roughly, 3 days between tournaments. Open at Austin, drives then, Nate, all the way out to OTB Open in Stockton. So 10
Wow.
days to get 1,475 miles. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, first I want to touch on Kansas City. I'm really stoked to see that one back on there. Bad Rock is one of the top 5 courses that the Pro Tour I think has ever visited, and yeah, Gannon's what was it, 12 or what was it, even
14.
14 down? Was I
I
think
think so,
14 was
yeah.
one of the better rounds that we've ever filmed out there, and that team does amazing. That's another one of the biggest disc golf hubs in the world, right up there with Dallas Fort Worth, with Charlotte. Kansas City has always delivered. It used to be a regular stop on the national tour. It's hosted the world championships before, and really happy for that team. And then, yeah, the Jomez series, we can't talk about that enough, right? I think that really opens up a lot of potential options for courses that the network can't quite visit, but we can still film and we can still, honor and celebrate some of the loved courses around the world. So it's cool that Waco, isn't just getting the boot. There's a lot of history there. I think I think it kind of makes sense that Waco is off the official Pro Tour, and it's sad to say that, but it does feel like it's one of the courses where we've kind of grown past it, right? Some of the scale of some of the holes is just a little too small, right? You get up in the woods, it's like a 300-foot hole, a 280, a 200, a 250 shot. Even the par 4, I think it's the 10th in the woods. It's like a 550-foot par 4, right? And people are now throwing 500-foot ropes and then jump putting. I was on the course. Zach Nash is throwing it to like inside circle 2 on a flat destroyer line. So we're kind of outgrowing it. But at the same time, when you have a short course like that, what happens is you get these scores like stacked up, and there's so many different people that can win. And the one thing about Waco is it has the 2 best finishing holes in the game, and I will fight people on that, right? 17 and 18 at Waco are so dynamic. Like over the years, the most exciting stuff has happened and has delivered the most electric finishes because you have this hole that takes a 90-degree turn and it starts out kind of blocked by the wind and then finishes like toward the river, toward the cliffs with wind just changing directions as you throw your second shot. So I'll never forget all the moments there. I'll never forget playing there for against Germ. I'll never forget watching James play against Germ in the playoff. Nico LaCastro making that putt on 17 to like hold off Kale. Colt Montgomery birdieing 18 in the headwind to win his first Pro Tour event at the COVID year 2020. It was a 2-round tournament, and he got 3 eagles on the back 9, 2 of them in the tailwind, and then he just PD2 straight into the headwind. There's some moments that you just will never forget. Simon Lizotte throwing the putter over 18. So it's sad, but eventually we have to go to new places, right? We get a little too big, and then the Open at Austin, cruising down to Texas. Typically we're there in March. So the bluebonnets might have already bloomed out at that point in time, which is a little sad, but still a nice time of year to be there. Hopefully we avoid any, late spring thunderstorms, aka tornadoes. But that's a great event. And I was talking to the team, Brian, the sales team, and I met a guy from Live Nation who does add-on events. Like if you already have a big event, they will come in and they'll build a concert stage, and they will invite someone out to play, and they'll ticket it. So I still think that we need to work to pair music and disc golf, and that is one of the events that I'm targeting to try and get, a big musician out there to have a concert, Saturday night at the Open at Austin. And if you buy a concert ticket, then you get to come watch disc golf on top of that for free.
Well, we just got some news, Nate. We're going to have to finish the schedule after this because the man himself, Jonathan Gomez from Jomez Pro, is here to give us some more information on the Jomez Pro Series and talk to us a little bit more about what they're trying to do with this. I'm super excited. Let's welcome the boy in. Welcome in, Jonathan Gomez, the man behind Jomez Pro. After all these years, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I love this podcast. I'm so stoked to finally get a chance to be on it.
Well, we were just talking about WACO, and I remember back at WACO one year, you had the 100,000 subscriber party, and it was such a big moment for disc golf. It was such a cool night, so fun. And now you're at 493,000 subscribers, approaching 500K. When you look back at that, how are you feeling?
It's honestly just insane, the ride that we've been on. We've been kind of talking about that 100K like party we had there at Waco a little bit more recently, just because we're getting so close to 500K. And we knew that one day we would probably try to do something for 500K, or even a million one day. So that 100K was really special for us. It was the 2019 disc golf season. Most people probably remember there was a little bit of uh, somewhat of a falling out, I guess, between us and the Disc Golf Pro Tour that year. It was no bad blood or anything. We just couldn't quite align on what Steve Dodge at the time wanted from Jomez and what Jomez wanted as like an independent media company. So I remember like we weren't even on the tour at the time for the beginning of that season. And Ryan Draper, we had been working with him since I think 2016. I remember that was the first time I can remember we filmed Nate Perkins on the coverage that year. I think it might have been Texas State's back then. It wasn't that specific event wasn't Waco, but yeah. So we had been working with Draper for so long that when he heard that news, he was kind of like, "Hey, man, like I don't know what we're gonna do, but you're gonna be in Waco one way or another. Like I'm not having Jomez."
Cool.
And so I remember like he had to handle that on the Steve Dodge side, and we weren't technically supposed to be there, but I think we ended up just getting chase card just to say that we were, not going to skip out on Waco. Macbeth ends up shooting his second 18 down. a year after, or less than a year after he did it the first time at DGLO. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so we obviously were having a great week. Like things were kind of up in the air what we were even going to do. We ended up going there, shooting an 18 down because we were on chase card, so it was exclusive to us because they weren't really doing live coverage, as complete as they are today. Obviously, the live product's incredible now. But yeah, so that was kind of like okay, I guess like things are going kind of good for us, even though that things didn't look like it was going to be all that great. But we were going to do chase card, and at the time, we were like, well, we don't really want to do chase card, but we were like, well, we'll do it anyways. Had that happen, and then a day or two later, had the 100K party. We were able to have it there at the McLean Stadium for where the Baylor football team plays. We had it in one of the nice little, upper areas that they kind of have, a little banquet area. And it was just incredible. Like, we didn't really know what to expect from it. We just said, let's just do something for the 100K. We're going to do it in Texas because that's where we're from. We're going to do it at WACO because that's just kind of like our Texas event that we did most consistently. And we had a lot of help. We certainly could have done it ourselves because at the time it was just like 3 of us, maybe 4 of us working the whole crew. And we were having to still edit coverage that night of the party. Like, we ended up doing the party, but then right after, like, I think we edited a little bit before and then had the party for 3 hours or something, and still had to go to the RV. The RV was parked in the parking lot of the stadium, and we still had to go and do our work. But I'll never forget like how many people came out, showed up, and just decided that like they wanted to be a part of this. I think we made the tickets as cheap as we possibly could have made them, just to have people go. We just kind of wanted to say like, this is our thank you to all of you. We spent so much money on that party because we had it catered and everything, and we only charged like $10 a ticket or something. So we definitely didn't make
Food
our
was
money back,
good.
but that wasn't really.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember. I do remember. It was a great, and like we had a lot of help like with the table settings, like just it was crazy. We just tried to do everything we could, go all out. All the players, so many players showed up. We did like a little throwback thing. We had Nate and Germ do the big sexy commentary live. That was like our first time even trying something like that. I don't think anything went particularly like well or incredible, but it was just fun that we were there just doing. And AJ Risley did a stand-up comedy bit,
Yes.
like a set of like a 5 or 10 minute set. And I was just like, dude, like we ran through some of the jokes beforehand, but I was just kind of like, do your thing, dude. Like, you have your own brand of humor and not everyone's going to get it. But like, I'm such a huge fan, and he's such a good friend of mine, even to this day. And I was just like, do it, man. Like, I don't care. Like, I love like a little bit of like off-brand, humor, not mainstream stuff. And AJ's definitely one of those guys that you probably all know that by now. If you spent any time with him, he's just, he marches to the beat of his own drum. And I was just like, dude, like, do it. It was so much fun.
Well, I want to move from that 100K to now almost 500,000 subscribers. Disc golf has changed so much. That 2019 season was just before a season where everything changed for a lot of people. And now you guys have traversed the ups and downs of disc golf at the professional level. And now we are a part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour and trying to continue on and developing the brand and the company. Where are you now, and what are you excited about? Obviously, the Jomez series, but what alongside of that?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine how things, like you said, that next year, obviously things went crazy. Like, everything got shut down. It was actually at WACO. It's funny that we keep coming back to WACO. It was actually at WACO in 2020 that we got through 2 rounds, and then they shut the thing down. Right? Like, I remember being in the parking lot the morning they said, like, because we didn't even know what it was. We didn't. I think we were still calling it
Yeah.
like coronavirus or something. Like, it was just like, what does that even mean? And things start, you start seeing the different news reports, and flights are getting shut down, and whatever was happening all over the world. And here we are at the Beast, and finding out like they're going to cancel. I don't remember. Do you guys remember? Did they cancel the 3rd round, or did they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
say the 3rd round?
Canceled it.
Okay, that's what it was then. So we had round 1. And then after that night of round 1, we were editing, and they were like, hey, we're going to do round 2, but then that's it. And there are no spectators allowed. And this was all just kind of getting put out like in real time. Like people were trying to keep up of what exactly is going on tomorrow. That was a Saturday. And I remember being in the parking lot as we were getting our stuff out, about to go inside the gate. And this guy was like, "Hey man, like nice to meet you, Jomez. Like this is my first tournament. I drove all the way from Dallas, hour and a half or something." And I was like, no way, dude. Like this guy doesn't know. Like he's not even allowed to be in. He didn't know, like, because they probably just put out a social media post or maybe they sent out emails to ticket holders or whatever. But he just didn't get the message. He was just like, "I'm going." So he shows up. I say, hi to this guy, and I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but like they're not allowing spectators into the into the
No.
course today." He's like, "No
So
way,
sad.
really?" Yeah, so I remember there's video of everyone being outside the fence because all the people that did show up just watched from the fence because you could see a good amount
Yeah.
of the holes, on the finishing stretch. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time on this, but I'm just saying
That's all right.
that was crazy how that set things into motion. Then we came up with Jomez because we had to have something to do. Like I still pride myself on the fact
Yeah.
that we didn't fire anybody. We paid everybody the whole time through COVID, even though we weren't working, because we were just like, we got to find some way to make money, and we survived it. And then of course 21 just went crazy. And then so basically we get to the point where things keep shifting. No one year is the same as the previous year, and that's what made it so hard to kind of nail down what exactly does this look like to be a professional independent media company that films professional disc golf. So much was changing. So it got to the point where as we get to the end of 2022, we're deciding like, okay, like I think if we're going to be sustainable with how much things keep changing, and for us to be able to like sleep at night and not just feel like it's going to be all over tomorrow, like we need to finally like join forces with the tour for this to make sense. And I couldn't be happier with how things have happened. It took some time to kind of figure out what it meant to
Good.
be under the DGPT umbrella. But every year that we run this back since like 2023, when it first became official, has just become more and more of like a solid team effort. Like we definitely still have some kind of independence in the kind of content we create, but we rely so much on the resources that the tour has, and that was the only way it was ever really going to make sense long term. And like I said, we work so well with like Sam on the media side. Like we use their media contractors because we share cameras now. Tosi right now, who's the mastermind behind all of this live broadcast or streaming type stuff, like stuff that we had no business doing, even when we were doing Jomez. Like I basically asked Michael to learn everything there was to know about live streaming so that we could even do it. When there's someone like Tosi who's just like, this is perfect, this is right in his wheelhouse, and I love that you guys are able to do this every single week because of the work that he puts in. And of course you guys can we all can play to our strengths is really the bottom line of what's happening here with Jomez and the tour. Is everyone can play to our strengths. I don't have to worry about running a business and do things that I have no interest in doing on the high level stuff. I can focus on the team and the people that go out there and produce content. And the tour has like a vast, like a vast like list of people that do so many things behind the scenes that we wouldn't want to do. Like, right, you guys are probably feel the same way. Like we're so grateful for the people on the behind the scenes that do so much. And so this is
Yeah,
what
no doubt.
like I said, this was always going to be the thing that made the most sense. It's just something that if you would have asked me in 2020 or 2021, I would have said, no, like we're going to be independent forever. But that's not realistic either. Like how many businesses grow to a certain level and they have to make some kind of move like that? Like it's just so like tough. It's either make a move like that or you might not be around much longer. Frankly, like if you try to hold out for too long and things just kind of come crashing down, like you might be kicking yourself and like, yeah, I should have done it. So like I said, it's just funny how the journey has been just from independence and saying like we're going to be this way forever to finally like growing a little bit and maturing and being like, no, I think we maybe need to like kind of get our egos in check and decide, if we want to be around and we want people to have jobs and to be there on the tour and to produce this content for the fans around the world, we have to make moves like this. And thankfully, the tour saw the value in Jomez to be like, yeah, we want that, because they could have easily just said, no, we got this. Like we can figure out how to do our own media, because that did happen in 2019. Like there's plenty of record of how it had gone. and we had all kind of learned our lesson on like, okay, let's not try to make some of these same mistakes again and make some of these moves that are just going to be kind of painful and don't make a lot of sense. And thankfully, this is the one that we landed on. That made sense. So
Dude, what a
yeah,
move, man.
pretty crazy.
I'm also so grateful for that. And you guys have another move that you just announced this year, and really that's what we want to hear from you. Is we want to hear about the vision that you have for the Jomez Pro Series. Because when I first hear it, I'm immediately like, all these opportunities are unlocked to celebrate all these different courses and communities that the network and the Pro Tour can't quite hit because of infrastructure or cell signal. And yeah, we know that there's 3 confirmed, but we would love to hear more about the vision that you have for the Jomez Pro Series.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where we saw, like, I'll just use Waco as an example. We saw that Waco wasn't going to be on the Elite Series this year, and that's probably the first time it's happened since it's been on, right? Like, it really hasn't, I don't think, taken a break. Um, so like we kind of go back to Waco because it holds a place near dear to our hearts. So it kind of sparked this idea of like, if we don't want something like that to get skipped, and we know like people will watch it because they run such a great event regardless of it being on the Elite Series or not. Like, these people like Ryan Draper and his team have done such an amazing job for so long. Like, where can we build off of this to hit some other places as well that deserve some recognition, or maybe get back in front of the cameras, or like you're saying, Nate, like an event that maybe just doesn't have good cell signal, that probably won't be broadcast live anytime soon. Because the thing about all the work that goes in behind the scenes on the live is, it's not that it can't be done. It's like they want they want the best possible product, and they take the cell signals and the connectivity and all that very seriously, so that they don't just go somewhere and half the round is it's just all pixelated or whatever. And so, to their credit, like, it is a hard decision to make for places that can't quite make it for the time being. But because of this series idea, like, we can say, okay, well, we can still show this to people and fill in some gaps, some open weekends, and still show people like what is going on at these events, where there's going to be a lot of top tier players still, even though because these players, most people know, like, they're on tour, they're in their vans, whatever, they need a place to go anyways, so they're probably going to be at places like Waco or Cascade and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at, is that sparked the idea to say, let's do this. This will be the first time that Jomez has done like exclusive coverage of basically any event since that 2019 season, when we had to go off the tour for a little bit. We went to a lot of A tiers. That was the first time we went to Brooksville, to Florida, for Throwdown the Mountain. We went to the
Yeah,
Rumble.
the
I think
Rumble. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like, I'm kind of blanking on some of the other. We went to the KC Wide Open that year. Like, we got to see a lot of cool places, and so that kind of gets me excited, because this isn't just like a new idea that we're like, let's see what happens. It's like, I know what happens. People are going to watch. People are going to be excited. We get to go and do some exclusive post-produced coverage. We get to try to make the on-site experience something kind of like reminiscent of what we had done before, like in those early years, 17, 18, 19. I mean, we got to do a lot of really fun stuff in these communities that didn't necessarily have like the tour stamp on it, and with all that comes with it, because that is such an amazing experience as it is. But now we get to kind of um, experiment with what it's going to be like to kind of dip our toes back into that experience that we used to have.
So, lot of questions. A lot of questions. This is ideally great news. I want to know some of the logistics. So, 3 tournaments right now that have been listed. Champions Landing coming back, essentially DDO, Waco, Cascade Challenge. We've all seen these courses before. How many are slated for the year roughly? And ideally, how many do you want in the future if this gets off the ground?
Yeah. So I'd say right now we're probably, obviously the 3 confirmed, but I'd say we could be seeing as many as 6. It probably
Mm.
won't be all just in the season because there's only so many open weekends, and we also have to be conscious of, like, asking the crew to work just back to back to back to back, for 8 weeks or something. Like, that's not fair either. So we're very conscious of, like, how many we can actually fit into this season. But I think there's gonna be some opportunities to potentially do some of these, like, in the off season, like November, December, go to a place where the climate's a little nicer. I mean, people are always gonna watch coverage, right? Like, if we're there posting it. So if we can find some places that these players go off, and do in the off season type, months, then I think that would be solid too. Or maybe even like a January tournament, something that kind of gets the season started a little earlier than people typically expect from us. And so I think that leaves the door open for opportunities like that to come up. Just as it is right now, it's still just kind of a lot in the works. So we're happy to have like the 3 confirmed that we have. But I'm definitely looking forward to potentially being able to announce, 1 or 2 more, as now that the news is kind of coming out, we might get some interest and just try to lock some stuff in.
Give me your outrageous wish list. Like, where are you trying to go? Are you trying to do like a resort tour? Are you trying to get out to Hawaii for one of these events?
Oh man, doing some destination disc golf, that would be awesome,
Yeah.
right? Like Thailand has had such a great, event going for so long that how cool would
Yeah.
it be? Like I'm sure I think Nate, you've at least gone a handful of times
Yeah,
probably
I've
to
been
that one.
twice. Yeah, I've been
Okay, yeah,
twice.
so I know that there something like that would be awesome. Like you're saying, like Hawaii, like I haven't looked into Hawaii too
Yeah.
much, but like
New
I'm sure there
Zealand.
could be some cool stuff. New Zealand is one that I know, like obviously, like yeah, go throw has already gone out there, so we don't want to like step on any toes or anything. But I can't lie and say that it wouldn't be cool if we had an opportunity to go to like New Zealand. It's so beautiful out there. Like I One of my fondest memories of my early touring years was going to Australia. Like UC invited us to the Australian Open there
The
in
Aussie Open?
2017. Yeah,
Dude,
and like it was amazing, and I would love to go back
that's
because it was so
crazy.
fun. I mean, I couldn't believe that I found a place that was hotter than Texas in Perth, Australia. Western Australia. It's basically like you open the hills and it's like pretty dry out there. I couldn't believe like, wow, this is actually hotter than what I'm used to. But it was
Did you
fun. I
guys
mean, you had the
film
ocean
Ricky
right there.
Eagle? Was that on y'all's coverage, the Ricky Eagle
I
battle out there
mean,
when they
we were
shot
the
like
only ones doing
17?
coverage that year,
Yeah,
so
it must have been.
I would think so. It's been so long ago. I do remember like Beth had like a ridiculous throw in,
Yeah,
like
the
a jump
Mhm.
putt.
putt, but it
It
was
was like the
downhill.
longest
It
putt in
was
the
like
We
world.
just
100
Yeah.
talked
feet.
about it.
Yes. Yeah,
Brian
I
and I
remember
just
y'all were
talked about
talking
that
about it.
putt. We just talked about that
Yeah,
putt. But to me, I
yeah, and I
remember the
remember.
Ricky Eagle battle. They're throwing, I think Eagle
Yeah,
shot 16 one day, and then Rick shot 17 the next day to beat him. It was like unheard of.
yeah. So, anyways, stuff like that would be cool. But even stateside, like we don't really give Colorado any love on the tour, right? For one reason or
Yeah.
another. And I would love to go see some courses in Colorado. I know like CCDG used to go to like Montana quite a bit. I don't even know which event that was, but there was a big one. I don't know if it's still going on, but like that, there's places out there like mountain golf, like that's what I'd like to see a little bit more of because the discs fly so different that it'd be fun to see, some of the pros throwing, you know, they're having to cycle out their bags for some different stuff to kind of just a little bit of a different challenge. Like we played Sky High once after La Mirada one year. We went out to Sky High outside of LA, real all the way up in the mountains and stuff. It's a really cool disc golf course. And I hit like my longest ace ever out there, but it was all luck because my discs were not even flying like I thought. And I remember I just turned over like my sidewinder. They're more stable up there, right? Discs are more stable in the. Okay, so I threw my sidewinder because I was like, well, everything else is dumping out, and I ended up hitting like a 340-foot ace. And I was just like, well, that was more luck than any ace, or most aces are probably luck anyways, and that was definitely because I didn't even expect the disc to fly that way. Anyways, so mountain golf would be a lot of fun. Obviously, destination places would be cool. Like we've had people reach out even in the more recent years where we don't really do exclusive coverage. So it'd be nice to kind of circle back to some of those and see if we can't fit it on the schedule now that this series kind of sets the stage and it's not just like a one-off where it would have been before. Wouldn't have really made sense to be like, oh, all of a sudden we're going to go film, you know, Thailand or whatever. Now it's like a part of something that will have a little bit of, something backing it, like with however the tour wants to set it up and see if it kind of
It's
transitions
getting
into
points,
something.
right?
Yeah, exactly, like points or something
What's
like
that
the
look
Q
like?
series did before. I wish I could tell you. I don't really understand the
Don't know the points
points a
yet.
whole
Yeah,
lot, and I think they might still be working on that, with Brian, Cole, just to make sure it all makes sense. So, but I do think that's awesome that there will be points, but like I said, I just
that's
don't
great
want to
incentive
speak to it if I don't, yeah, I don't want to like,
for
say
sure.
something wrong, but I think it'll kind of come into play as maybe like at least at first, because it's still so new, as maybe like a tiebreaker type thing where it incentivize you to play some of those events in the event that there was, you were close with somebody else, and that kind of gives you the edge on like a tiebreaker. I think that's kind of how it might be at first. But the cool thing about this series is this is just the first year. Like I know Brian was asking, like, what do I see in the long term? And I do think that we could get some more events, and maybe the events carry a little bit more weight, and we kind of put a little bit more behind it. But at first, we're just starting with something that's, we know we can execute with, the fans can expect coverage from us at really solid events. Then maybe we could start being able to branch out, you know, put a little more money behind it and do some maybe international stops and stuff. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, for now, we know like where we're going. We're familiar with the places we're going. We want to just do a really good job, and we don't want to like oversell something that we can't deliver. So that's kind of where we're starting, right here. And then hopefully like even stateside find some places. Like I know that Brian asked me, so I was like thinking like I think De La Viega would be amazing, right? Like
Yes.
it's not
Got some
on
time
there
in
or anything.
May.
I'm not saying it's confirmed, but like
Yeah.
that would be amazing to film there because we haven't filmed there in such a long time. And like I have such fond memories of Santa Cruz. Like I know you guys have talked about that area too. Like it's such a cool place to go hang out. And of
Obsessed with
course the
Santa
course is
Cruz.
just yeah, the course is
Yeah.
just legendary, right? And it's probably
Yeah.
not going to have live coverage anytime soon until some things change, and that's okay. Like that's where this series could come in and finally like shine a light on these places that already have amazing things going, but there just isn't a ton of attention on it. And that's what this is going to do for us, the same way we did this in 2019. Like we didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, but people still watched because we put our best product out there to show like all the work that was being done in these places, like like the Rumble. Like I don't even think I'd even heard of that tournament before we went, and we had so much fun. Like we just met so many awesome people there and got to showcase like a lot of really good disc golf because it's happening everywhere, not just on these Elite Series stops. And there's a lot of really amazing courses out there that we're excited to be able to showcase.
So then my other question is, in regards to the standards for the event, like added cash, all that kind of stuff, what does that look like? Is it on par with like the silver events that we've had in the past? Is it on par with the Disc Golf Pro Tour events? What does that look like?
I believe, from my understanding, it's basically right in line with like just your PDJ A tier standards. I think everything that will be on this is going to be a PDGA A tier. So that's kind of like my understanding of it. I don't always know like the finer details of what all that means, but we do know that those will be, at least those kinds of things that are in place as far as added cash and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good to know. And then my last question before I let Perkins kind of take it. Uh, you said you wanted to kind of personalize the branding of these events and make it feel like 2017, 2018. Are we talking like Jomez Final Nine? Are we talking about some cool events that get the communities involved as well? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think it would be awesome. I can't promise that we'll be able to do Final Nines right away, but we had like I have such fond memories of the Final Nines. Like those were, for anybody that doesn't remember what the Jomez Pro Final Nine is, we essentially would just go to like courses on the way from one tour stop to the next in our RV and set up a disc golf registration page. What was it called? disc golf scene or something, registration page or something, and put out a little flyer online and say, hey, you want to come, you get a disc and a shirt, come play with, anybody comes and signs up, you play 18 holes, and after 18 holes, we'll take the top 4 scores, and you get to be on a Jomez Pro filmed card. And we film 9 holes, and we would post them online. We would get local commentators, like whoever was like the local guys, whether they're pros or like tournament directors or course designers, whatever. And we got, I don't know how many we did, but we had so much fun with those. We would just make it an all day thing, and people would come and just have a good time. I would love to get back to that, because that was such a solid way for us to connect with the communities, the people, the subscribers, like that loved what we did. And it kind of had to go away when we stopped traveling in the RV, because it's not necessarily feasible to just like hop on a flight and go like to a random course, and spend money to go do that. Whereas we were already on the way from one place to the next. So now I think this could give us that opportunity to potentially set up like a final 9 again, and just like the day before, 2 days before, have people come out on the course and do that. Because it's not so like, maybe these events aren't so buttoned up with like the pro tour practice schedules and all that, because we kind of need a place that uh, lets us use the course for the day. So maybe if there's a nearby course, or if we just pick a day where it's not quite as busy or something, that would be awesome. We Brian, you were there, but we were able to do a putting league in Kansas City this year, and I think that would be pretty easy to pull off everywhere we go, because like all we did was not all we did. It was a lot of work. Like, you did a lot of work there, but we just hit up the local, whoever's running putting leagues, and just kind of come in there and help with some prizes and set up merch and stuff for people to kind of come in and just have a good time. And I think putting leagues is a pretty solid one to be able to do. Yeah, so there's a lot of potential there for kind of some stuff we want to do, but I think the stuff that we've already done would be nice to kind of rehash that. What, putting league's pretty easy, but to do the final 9 again, and to have, the stakes are even that much higher than they used to be when we used to do final 9s and we had 100,000 subscribers or less back then. And now we're coming up on 500K, and be like, people get real nervous. I'm sure you guys have been there in front of the cameras, but you can imagine somebody that, 920 rated, how nervous the people can get in front of the cameras. So, but it's always cool to see people, like the people that can at least, all I ever wanted from these people was just like, I just want you to have one good shot, like one good
One good one.
drive, or one big, like
Mhm.
one circle 2 putt. Because you could just see how people light up. Like, even if they played exactly how they were going to play, how they were expected to play, and had one good shot, or once or twice we got an ace. Like, that was so cool, because then those people remember that forever. Getting an ace on a filmed card or on Jomez, like that was awesome. So all that to say that I'm looking forward to the opportunity to explore to be able to bring back some stuff like that, because this is, like I said, kind of reminiscent of what we were able to do before. And things have just been so crazy since we were pretty much on the tour and only did the tour, and think how much of things have changed, and this gives us that chance to explore that.
Well, sweet, Jonathan. Man, it's crazy. It's going on 10 years since we met. It's pretty wild. And
Oh
you brought
yeah,
up the
I
2016
remember.
Texas States. I remember Bradley Williams, Cam Todd, Zachariah Johnson were the other 3 on that card with me. And I was such a little kid, because you guys, I'll never forget the theme song that you guys had, because it was I was obsessed with watching Jomez. And the second that I got on it, it was like, I just like rewatched it several times just for that intro theme song. Like, all right, my
Yeah,
name's next to the intro with the theme song. Like, this is going so hard. And it
yeah,
was like such a like motivating part of like my early career, was to get on Jomez and meet you guys and hang out there at WACO. But super stoked on all y'all's success. And you kind of hit the nail on the head for me. I wanted to give you my wish list. And for me, mountain golf, for sure. I want some mountain golf, and I want more California. You hit De La Viega. I want to go up to the Redwoods, the Brook Trails course. I think that's one of my top 5 favorite courses ever. And the team there is growing. They just finally got some video production from their tournament in August. They got it on local route. I think that would be a great spot. And then I think destination golf for sure. I think, Go Throw is obviously doing stuff down in New Zealand, but I think that anything in Oceania is going to thrive. Like there's enough space for multiple
Yeah.
multiple camera production crews to come down there and film and do stuff with the local sports network like they were doing in Estonia and Finland. I really think that's like the portal that we should be targeting, is like getting the packaged coverage like out on like national sports networks such as in Australia or New Zealand. But that's my wish list. Brian, what give him your wish list. Give him a couple courses that you would love to see on there.
I want to see Roland Ridge black to black. I want to see De La. I want to see some like super version of Pier Park. I've been saying this for a long time. I want
Yes.
like a 54. Give me a par 54 shootout at a sick course with scenic shots. I want to see Dreamcatcher on camera. I love that place so much.
How
Beaver
about
Ranch.
Dalewood?
I've played there. I love Delwood.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
Delwood.
Sean,
Dude,
give this
Sean,
guy
yeah.
a call, Sean. Let's go, baby. Delwood. That's
Dude,
my spot.
we have great memories there. We used to drive through there every chance we got, even if it was out of the way, like going to Peoria or something. We always made time to go hang out with Sean and Sheila and all the people out there. And I always wanted to make a documentary about that. The fact that he got the city to give him money to like build a pro shop on the course and stuff. I was just like,
That's
you
baller.
are in
Wow.
great shape, dude. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, Delwood definitely would be fun.
Delwood for sure makes the list. But to continue on, Beaver Ranch in Denver, or just outside Denver, something like that. I've played there. I feel like there's a layout that they can make that would be a phenomenal
100%.
pro course. The Fort, I want to go back there. I want to play a 3-round tournament there. Deer Lakes in Pennsylvania, and then Caliber up in Idaho. I haven't played Caliber, but I've seen some
Caliber's
unbelievable
insane.
coverage of that course.
Yeah.
But yeah, those
That's
are the
a good
types of places
list.
I want to go.
That's a fire.
And then internationally, let's go to Thailand in the off season. Let's go to Hawaii and play some like, island golf. Perkins was joking like we need to go play on the moon. We need to go play underground. we need to go play in some places that showcase the beauty of our sport. But Jonathan, I have one last question for you. This is going to be a lot of extra logistics because you're not following the tour week to week. How do your guys feel about this? Are they gonna stay alive out there? How do the camera guys feel?
We have got some incredible crew members. They are just absolutely like they're just I've been on the road before, and after a few years I was like, golly, I think I'm kind of chilling for a little bit, but they just year after year they just want to get back out there. They love it, and it's such an amazing, experience for them. And I've been there, so I know what they're going through. It's not always like 100% positive, and it's a struggle sometimes, and you do make a lot of sacrifices. But I was definitely apprehensive, like how they were going to react whenever we told them that we were wanting to do this. But we've got some guys out there that they're road warriors, and they're excited for the opportunity to kind of just fill in these gaps and be more creative, and not necessarily have to do the same workload that they would do at a tour stop, like a pro tour stop. This is a little bit more open-ended. Like, do you want to do maybe player profiles again that we don't really do anymore? Like because now we actually have players that might be coming onto the coverage that people don't know. We used to do those almost every day, and things just changed a lot whenever we started covering FPO as well. So we kind of had to make some changes, but this might give us an opportunity, to be more creative in certain ways, or maybe highlight these places that, especially if we go places that haven't been on like before. But yeah, I was very happy to hear, that the crew was excited for the opportunity here. There's going to be a lot to figure out with logistics because we're not taking the entire tour, but we need a lot of the same people to kind of go to these places to make it make sense and make it work. But overall, like I think we're going to be in good shape with figuring out who's going to go, and maybe trying to cycle some people out and stuff, so it's not just like back to back to back every time. But yeah, that's why we're really careful with this first iteration of it, just to not, go too hard or overpromise anything or get worried about burnout and stuff like that. We want it to make sense and kind of ease into it, and then see like in the second season, like what the Jomez Pro Series could be after we
Cool.
get some events
Cool.
under our belt.
Nate, do you have any final questions for the man?
Yeah, my final question, how what did you make of the Jerry Jones documentary celebrating himself? I thought that was pretty funny and good timing for him in the city of Dallas, because they cut Luka Doncic, and that was like probably one of the most dramatic. I mean, this isn't Jerry Jones related, but that was probably one of the worst trades I've ever seen in my life. Like I like the NBA. I like the NBA, and I was loving watching the Dallas Mavericks because of Luka and Kyrie, and then they cut him. And now Micah Parsons, like one of the more exciting defensive players in the last like 3 years in the NFL. And sometimes I'm just like, pay the man, right? I'm like, just
Yeah,
pay the man what he needs and set him free. I mean, I know he's not sacking players in the playoffs lately, but what do you
yeah.
make of
That's
Jerry Jones still like being in control? I know you're a huge Cowboys fan. What do you make of it?
Oh yeah, you and I have gone to a game together.
Yeah, man.
Okay. There's a lot I could say here, but my favorite thing I saw online after all this Micah Parsons stuff happened over the
Yeah.
weekend was somebody put a comment, and what's the guy's name? The GM for Dallas Mavericks is his name Nico or something?
Yeah. Nico
I can't
Harrison. Yeah.
remember. Anyways, and it was something like Nico, like I'm the worst GM in sports, and then it says Jerry, Jerry Jones, and it
Yeah.
says, "Son, you're not even the worst GM in Dallas."
That's it,
That
man.
was great.
That's it,
Yeah.
dude. It's crazy.
No,
It's like, let it
it's
go,
just one of these
Jerry.
things.
Let it go,
He's
man.
never gonna give up control, and now he's got his family in line. It's just this, it's never in our lifetimes, essentially, I think there's enough Joneses in line that we're not
Unreal.
gonna see anything different. We're not
They're
gonna
gonna run
see a
it into the
changing of
ground,
the
man.
control or whatever, and
Yeah.
I've just made peace with it. I haven't, it's I people love to hate on the Cowboys, and that's fine because they deserve it in a lot of ways, and they haven't been productive, and like produce any like solid results. So it's just kind of like I'm used to it. But I'm not gonna don't you're not gonna catch me not being a Cowboys fan because one day if they do
Same.
finally start being good, then I don't want you to look at me and be like, "Oh yeah, remember you like gave up on them?" It's like I'm not gonna be one of those fans.
No, we're locked in,
I'll just have to
Jonathan.
ride it out.
We're
It's
we're
been
locked
what,
in, man.
exactly. It's been like 30 years or something, since the last Super Bowl. But some
I was
teams
3, man.
haven't been at all. So I guess that we're just have to rest our head on that. I don't know. Earhart, do you even watch football?
No, no, it's
That's probably
fine.
for the best. What do you watch?
That is for the
I
best.
like
He
basketball. That's
likes
what I watch.
basketball
Yeah.
and
Okay, see, I
frisbee.
can't be a
He
fan.
loves
I can't
frisbee.
be engaged with a sport like basketball or baseball that have so many games because football is like 17 weeks of like stress, anxiety. Every game is like means something. And I don't know, maybe you can give me a quick insight. How do you engage with a sport like that where there's so many games? And how do you decide when you're like really invested and when it's kind of on in the background and or maybe you don't watch at all? Like I've never been a huge fan of sports that do that.
So for me, now that I live in Charlotte, Charlotte Hornets are just horrific. They're potentially going to be okay this year, but their tickets are cheap. And I love going to games. I love watching basketball get played. I think this new iteration of basketball, this new era with all this ball movement is so fun to watch. I feel like we finally got through like the ISO heavy, draw the foul, hook the arm, James Harden style of basketball. I feel like we've kind of moved past that. Super exciting. I like going to games in person. I'll watch a little bit on TV. I have League Pass like here and there, but the NBA does really well done highlights of every game pretty much. So during season, I'll drink my coffee and I'll just have the games kind of run. They pretty much just show all of the almost all the baskets made, and they cut out all the fluff of the rest of the game. So that's how I keep up most of the time.
So it's like the
But
Jomez of the NBA.
yeah, but it's like
Yeah,
15-minute
it
videos.
is
Yeah, and they
condensed.
just yeah. Yep, and
It's good to know
that's how I consume.
that other sports do that. Okay, well that makes sense. And baseball's kind of like that too. But like you're saying, I'll go to any live sporting event. I've been to NBA games, I've been to MLB games. Like I'll go and I'll be engaged and it's fun. And of course, if the Mavs are in the playoffs or the Rangers, in the series or whatever, like they got to be recently, like I'll watch that. I can keep up. It's not that I'm like it's so boring. I just don't know how to manage like how emotionally invested I am in something that how
Sure.
many games is basketball? I don't even remember
Like
like
80,
83,
84.
yeah.
Okay.
83.
Yeah.
Yeah, and baseball is like
It's a
twice
lot.
that, isn't it? Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so that's what I'm
162.
saying. Yeah, it's twice
Wow.
that. So football is like I'm in it, even if the team's terrible, like the Cowboys are terrible. I'm still gonna watch every game. I might turn it off at halftime if it's just that bad, but even rarely, I'll rarely even do that. I'll still watch the game, and so like that's what I never understood. Like how these people that are diehards of a certain team. I was just wondered. So now I thank you for kind of helping me figure out how that is because that seems like a lot.
You're welcome. You are welcome. And when you come to Charlotte, we'll go to a nice, cheap Hornets game. The nosebleeds are still
I would
good
love it.
seats. You're getting
Yeah.
a brand new
Yeah.
stadium at the old
Sweet.
Spectrum Center, and I'm about 15 minutes away. So you guys let me know when you're in town. With that, my friend, we got more disc golf to talk about. Thank you so much for your time, and get out of here. Go make a grilled cheese or something.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys. Keep killing it.
Yeah,
You
Jonathan.
guys are great to listen to every single week. Tosi, behind the scenes, thank you so much. Craig gets a lot of these edited for the broadcast for the channel as well. So I love the podcast. I love that you guys have done it without fail. I think this is like episode 27 or something.
27.
Yeah. So kudos to you guys for committing to this, and I love having a weekly offering on DGN and Jomez. That's something we never had before, like an original idea. So thank you guys so much for everything you're
Sweet,
doing.
man. It's an honor. It's an honor. It's my favorite part of my week, doing the pod.
That's awesome. Well, I love listening to it, so keep it up. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Jonathan. We'll see you real soon.
Well, Nate. I think the future is bright for the Jomez series. I'm very excited that he's interested in expanding into some new areas, representing some areas of our country that are underrepresented. What are your thoughts on that interview?
Yeah, it sounds like there's kind of you're using the same team that is producing Jomez at all the Disc Golf Pro Tour stops to do this Jomez Pro Series. And I wonder if there's a way to, make them separate entities to where there's nothing but green lights. Like you get a new team, maybe go hire some people fresh out of college that want to work on their broadcasting skills. We create a new tour, we get a new van, and we set those guys loose and we train them how to film, and we get a new commentary team. And so that way that we can actually like fill in every single weekend. That's my first takeaway is like, it's somewhat handicapped because it's the same team and you can't work them too hard and you can only, fit them in certain weeks. So I wonder if there's a way to just, I don't know the business wise, like take out a new loan and get a whole new team so that we can greenlight it. But that's just my early thoughts. What are some of yours?
For me, it's just the fact that he's wanting to be ambitious with expanding the courses at some point, and I think that's the big ticket. I love that they are just A tier, I believe, for the standard. That's what at least he said. We might have something different later, but that makes so many more courses and communities more accessible that are not, fit to raise the funds or have to put on the type of show that like a silver event or a pro tour event has to put on. So this could really open up their horizons and again showcase some courses that need some love, that have wonderful local communities that work really hard and take a lot of pride in the course. So stoked for that. I think 3 courses in the beginning is just preliminary. They said there might be some more added to the schedule. I know he mentioned De La.
Cool.
I hope that is on the schedule. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen regardless of if they show up or not. So anyway, Nate, we were working on the schedule through the year. We got
Yeah.
right up until OTB. So
Yep.
got some new events to start the year. Lots of space between events on the East Coast, and then we get to Jonesboro. We get to KC Wide Open. we go to Waco, Austin, and then from Austin, we go to Stockton. So 1475 miles, 10 days between events. That begins that new leg of the tour. Talk to me
Yeah.
about this next stretch.
Yeah, I think that's a big journey out west to go from Texas to Stockton. You're talking like approaching 2,000 miles. Some players might go play. I imagine Las Vegas is in there as well, off the tour as an A tier, which honestly could be a Jomez stop. Could make sense there. Stockton, not my favorite city in the world to visit. What they've done with Swenson is really special. What the Thousand Raider Productions, the two Seans out there, Sean Mercy, Sean Jack, undeniable. Their success. They pay like $20K to rent that course for the week, so it's amazing that they've been able to make it happen. I do like the course. Leonard Muse is really fun to just ride around on a golf court with and talk about all the little tweaks he's making to get the best out of that property, and it's delivered right. There's great viewing experience. They moved the 17th, or they moved the hole positions to make that the old 17th the finishing hole, and that really delivered this year. And again, we're back at that same thing where it's become this familiar property. So I wouldn't necessarily want it to move, because now people are becoming familiar with the course and they're understanding the layout. And so there's a little bit more gravity to the shots, to the moments down the stretch. And then what Sean Jack has done with the city, like the tourism board of Stockton is on board. So when you have a smaller city like that, everyone knows it's on board. You can funnel money in. And that's how like Finland and Estonia have gotten their success. So while it's not my favorite city, I definitely don't suggest moving it. What do you think about OTB?
Oh, it's great. Great. It's one of the better golf courses that we see. I also love when we look at the list of courses that we're playing, less and less golf courses. So I'm very happy about that. I don't think when I'm looking at this list, Supreme Flight, Big Easy Open, Queen City, Champions Cup are probably going to see Ivy Hill for 2 rounds at least.
No,
But
I
then
think it's just
Jonesboro.
that I think Champions Cup is just at uh
Oh yeah, New London.
New
Yes, yes,
London.
yes. So
I
we
think
don't
and then
see
the
a
golf
golf
course is
course.
at the playoffs.
Yeah, yes, you're right. We don't see a golf course, though, to start the year until OTB.
Mhm.
So,
Which is
totally
great.
fine.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good change up, and then we get from OTB back to the Woods Cascade Challenge. They get 4 days to travel up there, 657 miles. That's gonna be a tough turnaround. And then Cascade Challenge to Northwest Disc Golf Championship, 4 days, almost no travel. And then they go straight from Northwest Disc Golf Championship to Europe for a little bit different stretch. So that's where things start to get interesting. Go ahead and walk us through.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I see here is like how few events we have on the West Coast, which is, somewhat unfortunate because there's so many hubs on the West Coast for disc golf. But Northwest Championship, I think that's the Pro Tour's premier event, right? I think we go back to back golf courses there, at least on the Elite Plus lineup, and I don't think that's a problem at all. I think Glendoveer is one of the premier properties that we visit. And then we're going back to Tallinn. I think that is amazing news. That was, by the numbers, the second biggest disc golf tournament in the world. Probably the second most successful disc golf tournament ever. And the entire country is on board for that. I think they had close to €500,000 in grants from the city. So excited to visit that again. And I think Seppo, when we talked to him last, was talking about making some tweaks on that course, kind of extending it a little bit. And then I'm not sure. I know for the Worlds, they're going to add the property that's across the street at
Yep.
the I can't remember the grounds what it's for. It's like the
Are you talking about
palace
the presidential
headquarters, or
palace? Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And I walked through there from the train line to get to the course, and it's going to be a beautiful property. So really excited to go back to Tallinn, and then we are going to Borås, Sweden, which is just outside Göteborg or Gothenburg, which is really close to where the next one is, Ale. So 2 events within, I think they're within an hour of each other, Brian. I think Swedish Open
Yeah,
and
both
Ale
excellent
Open
courses.
are within an hour of each other. Boras is at the Umar Gardens Disc Golf Park, which is beautiful. It's a shorter course, more technical, in the woods for its entirety. If you recall, James Proctor won his first Elite Series event there last year over Paul Macbeth. So we've got some good coverage of that one. Really stoked for that team. That's one of the better teams that we've ever worked with. I remember Evan Spur with the Disc Golf Pro Tour speaking really highly of the professionalism that that team brought. And then Ale, one of the best disc golf courses in the world. Where are you at on that stretch?
Love it. I love that we're in Sweden for a little bit longer. I'm super excited about that. I'm sad that Finland is not getting represented as much, especially after the year they just had there. However, we go from the Ale Open to the Heinola Open in Finland, which you've played there. This place is
Kippis.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable looking property. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those that you never forget. Kippaussuo disc golf course, or Kippis, and there's, I think, 3 courses there. They're all amazing, and since its inception, it's been in the top 100 every single time. I think right now it's in top 3 on UDisc in the
Yeah.
world.
Yep.
Yeah, is that correct? Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
an amazing place, and it has this community aspect to it. Large building. It's just like a gathering, just like a hub for disc golf. And yeah, like you said, it is a little sad that Finland's not getting a full representation, but happy we're going to Heinola.
So then
And
it
then,
gets
uh-oh,
a little messy.
uh-oh.
Heinola Open to the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship in Salt Lake City, Utah, 3 days later, 4,800 miles. That's going to be a tough turnaround, and it's going to unfortunately cause some players to not want to play Heinola with the major looming around the corner in a new place. So I'm sad about that. However, sometimes this kind of stuff happens, and I don't know. I still just hate it. This year, the women had a tough time with the majors this year too.
Yeah.
They had to go to
No,
Wisconsin and
it's
then
tough.
fly back over and play the 2 majors there. Um, but then we kind of get back on the horse. Tough turnaround there. U.S. Women's to Champions Landing Open on the Jomez Tour. That's 4 days, 907 miles. There's not much to be said there, in my opinion. Champions Landing is essentially Emporia Country Club. I'm interested to see what they do with the property. They're turning it into this massive multi-use facility with pickleball and wedding venues and hotels and stuff like that. So
Mm-mm,
curious to see how that
mm-mm,
plays out. Nate, I know generational hater
mm-mm,
of Emporia. I understand.
mhm.
I give it the
Yeah.
benefit of the doubt because I
It's never
remember the
gonna be a
magic.
destination.
Nope. You know what, Nate? It was a destination when you get the whole
Glass
community
blown.
there. Like the glass
When
blown
you get the
open,
AMs
and you had
there,
the
yeah,
block party, and the AMs are
that's
there, and
true.
everybody's mingling. One of
Yep.
the best
You
experiences of my career
It's
touring.
true.
So
It's so true, but you know what, Brian? That's disc golf magic, right? That is a gathering of people that are bringing that magic. That had some to do with Emporia because the city would get on board, but we can take that other places. Like, they could have had that event in another place for years and still had that same magic and had a little bit more of a destination. So I feel like there's 2 sides to the coin there, and yeah, I don't think that we ever need to feature that property, Champions Landing. I just don't think it has it. I don't think we should be throwing discs near Interstate 35 on Jomez or on the Disc Golf Network. But that's all good. Then after that, we're going Ledgestone. That's not going to be off the tour for some time. Nate Heinold is just, dude. Nate Heinold's a powerhouse. This is insane. He's got a major in Lynchburg. And then what else does he have, Brian? He's got Ledgestone, and then he's got the Disc
World
Golf Pro Tour
Championships.
Championship. I mean, that's
No, he's got the
crazy.
World
And then
Championships.
he's got the World Championships next year, right? Oh, it's
Yep.
this year. World Championships and Pro Tour Championship. That's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane.
Yep.
And as much hate as he gets, he doesn't get enough credit for that's a full-time job and then some, right? Like you're working all year long to just raise the funds for those tournaments, right?
Mhm. Yes, 100%. It
That's
became his
crazy.
full-time job. But you know what? I'm very curious to see what kind of shows they pull off, especially after what UC just did in Finland. I'm really hoping that that's a cascading effect. I hope it's a waterfall effect that other tournament directors are like, okay, I think we can try to at least come close to that. The US is not Finland in many ways. But I really do think it's going to elevate the game. And I think we need those mad scientists in the game of disc golf to take those big risks and dream big. So yes, I agree with what you're saying. We go from worlds to Idlewild. Idlewild is going to be back. I think at this point, the course needs a little bit of tweaking. I think it needs something to add a little bit more depth to it. Totally fine. I think the property has the capacity for it. We go from Idlewild then up to GMC. 10 days difference between courses or between tournaments, 755 miles, GMC to MVP. That's standard. MVP to USDGC. The rest of the tour is standard. And then USDGC to the Tour Championship up there in Virginia. Very solid schedule. There's a couple snafus that happens every
Yeah,
single time. What are your
sure.
thoughts overall about the year?
Yeah, I think it is a great schedule. And, just to peel the curtain back a little bit, right? Like if the Pro Tour could choose every single stop and just cherry pick and create their own tour, they would, but they're not at a place yet where that's possible, right? They still rely on bids. They still rely on local organizing committees to put forth bids, as does the PDGA, right? So you have these two different entities that both need people to host these events to be able to put them on the schedule. So that's how we get these weird things like US Women's. Like it's not that the PDGA are the bad guy here or the Pro Tour is the bad guy here. And to give you this really difficult schedule for the FPO, it's just the way the cards kind of shake out sometimes because we're not quite in the place to cherry pick our events and create the exact tour. So if you look behind the scenes and you see all these bids from the PDGA and the Pro Tour and you look at the final schedule, I think they did an amazing job because undoubtedly with the way that the dominoes fall now, you're going to have weird stuff. And I think this is one of the better schedules I've seen. I'm excited to see some new events. And yeah, just to touch on the World Championships once more in Milford. Uh, that course has had a lot of history, Brian, and I think you know that course's history a bit better than me. But what I do know about that part of the country is it's also one of the mega disc golf hubs of the entire world. I feel Michigan has more of a sense of pride about their disc golf than maybe any other place.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
what do you think it means to the state of Michigan and to that area to have the World Championships visit Toboggan?
I think it's wonderful. There's a lot of players who don't like the toboggan. It's a brutal property. But what I like about it is it's unique in its challenges. And I think the beautiful part about disc golf is change in terrain and bringing you into where we are. We were just talking about the bald cypress trees that are littered all throughout the course there in Louisiana. We're not throwing off sled hills anywhere else in the country than the toboggan. So yes, this is an iconic course. It's infamous, just like the Throw Down the Mountain was for the longest time. They opened up that course, got it ready for the tournament, and then it went away into the shadows, not to be seen again until the next tournament that was there. So this course is still very similar. I also believe any disc golf course that's in a place like Kensington Metro Park is the future of disc golf. We want as many places like this as possible to get big representation because we want these Kensington Metro Park type places to kind of perk their ears up and go, oh, this is going to be beneficial for our city if we can get disc golf here and design a beautiful property and bring people in because now you have a professionally maintained facility that has staff, plenty of money coming in to sustain it, And that's why I'm excited about the Worlds coming to Toboggan. I also talked to Jim Kenner a couple of years ago at Ledgestone, and Jim Kenner is the big dog at Discraft, the founder of Discraft. And he was saying he's very inspired by what they did at Tampere with the excavation and the building and customizing of greens and mounds. And he said, very decent chance. I'm not sure. I'm not confirming anything. He said, we might try to do something like that in the future up here in Michigan and try to start taking that inspiration from UC and continuing to push the envelope of course design. The other thing, though,
Cool.
I like toboggan. As a lefty, I really like toboggan. There's a lot of lefty shots out there, so I'm a little bit biased. But also, Black Locust, um, which is going to be designed and redesigned for Worlds. I think it's like 11,000-foot wooded course that they're designing out there.
Wow.
I think it's gonna be unbelievable. I love Black Locust, so I have no doubts it's going to be a massive show. The community always shows up. The state is huge for disc golf. If I had to move back to the Midwest, I'd be going to Michigan, hands down. It's such a
Cool.
wonderful place to be just outside of the disc golf. So, great. But then with that, Nate, we zoom into DGLO coming up this next weekend.
Yeah.
This is the last Elite Plus of the year before we get to the playoffs and the Tour Championship and the majors. Thoughts on playing a full 4-round tournament at the Toboggan?
It's tough, man. I think that this is one of the courses I think of that it like cuts the field in half. Like the potential to win, it doesn't involve everybody, right? I think that this is an elite throwers course. I think your middle of the pack disc golfer is going to have a tough time there. I think you really need to be balling out at the 450 to 500 foot range, like consistently to throw your name in the ring here at Toboggan. Whereas like you go to USDGC, I think it brings like 100 people back into the mix here. So looking at the Tour Championship cut line, right? So Toboggan is the last, DGLO is the last standard one before the elite, before the playoffs, excuse me. So looking Tour Championship cut line right now, Ben Calloway, well, that would be pretty sick. He's in 31st. He's got some good
No, he
history
won.
here. This is where he won?
He's good.
Because he won a tournament.
He won
Okay,
Croco.
so
He's good. He's a shoe-in for the championship.
You still get in no matter what with a win.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, cool. Man, it's crazy how coveted the top 28 are right now. I guess it used to be 32. How coveted the top 28 are. Names outside of it right now: Matty O, Lauri Lehtinen, Jesse Nieminen, Kevin Jones is in 39th. Raven Newsom, who has had a pretty good season, he's in 44th. What are some other notable names? You see Luke Humphreys not having his best year. He's in 54th. Jake Hebenheimer, Barsby, Cal Lundquist. Yeah, there's a lot of players that they need a good finish here at DGLO to be relevant going into the playoffs. Give me a deep cut. Give me a deep cut, Brian. Who's well below the line that's going to have a good showing?
Well below the line, who's going to have a good showing?
Yeah, who's going to make a jump at DGLO? Yeah,
I think Raven Newsom is the guy to make a jump at DGLO, hands down. He's got the game for it. I think his forehand is perfect for that course, and his distance is really solid. He's really impressed me. Zach Nash below the line. My brother just played with him at the CCR and said he was just throwing darts everywhere. So I think Zach Nash is another guy that could have a good tournament there. But yeah,
speaking of CCR,
like you said,
hey, have you played there?
Yeah,
I've never played there. They're shredding that course, and how about Silas Schultz taking that down? Huge
stoked
dub
for him. Yeah, he
That's
went
a
14
huge
down,
dub,
15
man.
down, and I think a 9 down to finish off the tournament. Yeah, great job to Silas. But yeah, for DGLO, it's a thrower's course, except for FPO, because Owen has won there, and she's a good thrower, but I don't think you need to be perfect, like huge distance thrower to win an FPO. MPO, I think sometimes some of the tee shots make it kind of a mandatory. but yeah, so I'm interested to see what happens, Nate.
Yeah, we got a
I
couple
still,
Europeans coming back, Brian, for FPO. We got Silva and Henna coming back.
mhm.
Looks
Yeah, I'm
like
excited about that.
Evelina and Kristen's not joining until a little bit later, but excited to have Silva and Henna back. We need them. We need the Europeans.
But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I'm interested to see how it plays out. The course always gets tweaked a tiny bit. I know there's a new hole 14 for the women, but I haven't gotten the full notes yet of what's changing. And we will discuss that in the coming days. But Nate, any final thoughts as we wrap up this long show?
Okay, well, give me your top 2 picks, MPO.
MPO,
Top
Gannon
3.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Gannon. Mm-hmm.
Gannon, top 3.
Yeah.
I think Paul's gonna keep playing well. I think he's gonna ride the momentum.
Cool.
I'm ready for Ezra Robinson to bounce back. I'm ready for him to like get back up on the horse. He's had some performances he's frustrated with, but those are my picks. AB, you know what? You're right. Like I want to pick Gannon, AB, and Paul. Right, frankly,
Yeah.
because it's just one of those courses. I'm gonna pick Own for FPO. She's just riding high right now. I'm ready for Holland to take. She took some time off. I think she's gonna play well. Let's run it back. Ella, Holland, and Own. Same battle as last time when Own won. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go Gannon, and then I'm gonna go Simon Lizotte, Luke Taylor for DGLO. Luke Taylor just had a sweet battle with Silas at CCR. Shoots 36 under for the tournament, and he got fifth at Ledgestone. If you recall, he was the one guy pushing Gannon. So to me, Luke Taylor is another just inevitable young player. And he's from the state of Michigan, and so he's going to have that kind of home state momentum on his back, and he's feeling it right now. He's playing good golf, putting amazing. He was putting out of his mind at Ledgestone. And then Simon Lizotte, I'm ready for, I think the world is ready for another Simon Lizotte dub. And then FPO, I'm going to go Holland gets back on the horse. She battles Silva. And then, you see, we just can't go too deep. I'd love Cadence to kind of get out of the funk she's been in. But I'm going to go Ella Hansen, Holland, Silva, Ella Hansen, battling it at the top there.
Alrighty. Well, Nate, great show. Very fun. Again, send us an email, abapod@gmail.com. We'd love to chat with you. And we got some interesting developments happening with the show very soon. Not everything is concrete yet, so we'll share the details with you when we have them. For Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins, Jeffrey Tosi, and everybody else out there on planet Earth, thank you. Bye-bye.